Good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever it is. This is the Emperor's Throne podcast where I bring in a guest or I go solo and we just talk about things that are on our hearts, on our minds as we go through this journey called life. We hope that we share something with you that you can think on each day or marinate on each day, or you learn something new coming here. Whatever you come here for, we hope you get a lot of it. So just stay tuned. I am sure that each and every guest will have something that you need. Thank you so much. Enjoy the show.
Welcome, man. This is a beautiful, beautiful day.
Yes, it is.
Sitting here with my brother Justin, man. It's your boy Sturge. We just want to share our thoughts, share our opinions, whatever the case may be, whatever we talk about. I know initially I just want to pop it off with thank you for coming. Thank you for listening, showing love, spread the message, spread what we got going on. It's only going to get better. It's only going to get bigger. You feel me? So be on the lookout. A little self-promo here. I got my own personal podcast called Sturgtalkalot. You know, it's through Anchor, but you can find us on Apple Music. Excuse me, not Apple Music, but Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. A lot of the things, you know, that display podcasts. You can find us up on there. I also have a collab podcast with my boy back home. His name is Darius. Go by D-Full. And our podcast is called Fully Talk. So, you know, you can find that on the same outlets as well. Just wanted to throw that out there.
And no shame in self-promo. Don't forget to follow the bro on all of those podcasts. Well, both of those podcasts, rather. And it's so glad that he's appearing here. He's experienced in doing this thing. I am a little bit, but on the different side, more of the radio side of things. And so what I would like to do when starting this, we're going to call this the Emperor's Throne Room. So I go by the Emperor. And see, the funny thing people don't know is there's actually like a lost episode of this. Like I still got it, but I didn't want to release it just yet because of timing issues and conflicts of interest. But that will show up at some point. I just don't know when. I think that should be like a special edition, or like we put that away. We sat on it for a while only because of certain things that were mentioned. I didn't want politics to be involved. And it mentioned a lot of things that I don't think was ready for the public. After, like, we recorded it, and then afterwards it was like, well, do we really want to? But
We don't want to put that out there.
nonetheless, we are here. And what I would like to do with this is bring people into the throne room, so to speak. And now, like we did this at his house, now I have my own setup, so this is really the throne room. And
This is our first one.
it is
on the actual throne. Like,
right
just being in it.
in the actual room. So basically, I'm gonna let the guests kind of dictate the pace. Obviously, there's gonna be some constraints to that, but they have something on their hearts and their minds to bring to you guys, and I would be a fool to stifle that by just having a specific structure. So don't think this is just unorganized to be unorganized. I want organic conversation because everyone loves organic conversation. So Sturge, take it away. What is today's topic?
Well, today's topic, for starters, man, I want to share that we aren't responsible for other people's feelings. You know, I want to start it off with that. And when I say that you as an individual is not responsible for the next person's feelings, I don't say that to justify you doing what you choose to, or you doing what you want to. Now, granted, you have the choice of free will. You can do what you want. I say that to say you don't want to hinder your life and what you want to do for yourself based on another person's feelings and another person's emotions. So
like, for example, the old college thing, right? You're going off to college, you're in high school with your high school girlfriend, and you got to pick different schools because you got that scholarship to that one school. And it's not your responsibility that she feels some type of way because you have a future. Yeah. But on the other end of the token, like he was mentioning, that doesn't just give you the will to, I mean, you do have free will, like we mentioned, to do whatever you want, but that doesn't mean you can be a jerk. And that's right. The biggest thing. Like, we don't want this to come off. This is always, we want something to uplift you whenever we do these, or make you think, or a little bit of both. And we don't want this to come off like you have an excuse to just, you know, be a jerk. We want this more to be like, sometimes you have to make decisions in life that just aren't what other people want or what they want for you. So go right ahead, back into your thoughts.
To pick up more off what you said, we don't want you to feel like, okay, I can go out here and be a whore or a jerk, or just because I'm not responsible for how this other person's feeling. No, we want you to critically think and critically know, okay, even though I'm going to do this, I can't let me doing this, I can't let the fact of some other person feeling a certain way stop me from doing this. So, for example, if I am going to help out people and help out as much people as I can, try to touch as many people as I can, and there's people that don't agree with what I'm doing and trying to help these people, then with the right intent, then I can't even consider those people's emotions or those feelings, because what I'm doing is good for me, and not just good for me, but it's good for the people I'm associating with as well. You feel me? So in that aspect, you can't consider that person's feelings, because everybody got haters. Do you ever consider your haters' feelings that they have towards you?
Maybe at first, if we're gonna be transparent.
That's completely human. You feel me? You're supposed to.
Maybe at first, right? So you hear what they have to say, and then it's just oh, that sucks. Or oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Or, oh, maybe I'm not good at this. And then you start to realize, one, who you are, and two, that there's sometimes when people hate you, that's I think you can equate haters to your biggest fans. It's when people hate you, they will go to any lengths to get rid of you. I heard a situation about a guy cutting hair somewhere. I won't give specifics, but basically somebody had told on him, and he wasn't doing anything, wrong, but just because he wasn't part of that campus and somebody saw it and they reported it, and so because of that, he wasn't able to cut hair on campus. Now everything wound up fine in the end, but it's just random stuff like that. The people will go through those links, and he's minding his business. He is not doing anything wrong. He's not causing a ruckus, but whenever people mind their business, that seems whenever you get into trouble when you have haters. So
I think the biggest thing with your haters, like you said, they can be your biggest fan. With not considering your haters' feelings, you change your perspective on what they are to you. So instead of them actually hating, like you said, they're fans. They're showing you, in turn, what your true purpose is, or what you're really good at. You feel me? Because they're supporting, even though they're supporting you in a negative way, they're still supporting you. You feel me? They're trying to stop you from doing something that you are choosing to do. You feel me? So it's okay, when I take the step back, I can't think about why this man don't like me. But I gotta see the reason behind it. And the reason behind it is because I'm serving others, I'm loving others, I'm being a light to others, and people are just feeding off my energy. So if he's hating on me for that, I might need to keep doing that. Because I'm only going to be able to reach more.
Right.
I'm only going to be able to reach more. To kind of bring it to another perspective, when you don't consider other people's feelings, you was honestly taught that. Well, I wouldn't say everybody, but I was taught to not consider other people's feelings. My mom told me, Mahari, I don't care what you think. Right now, you're in a position where I'm putting everything inside of you, and I'm investing in you, regardless of whether you agree with it or not, to put you in a situation where you can be successful on your own. And all the time, all of us have questioned our parents or our guardians' decisions they have made based around us. But we have to think, they not considering our feelings, because if they were, we would have screwed ourselves at that age, or whatever we was considering. We would have truly messed up the entire family. Because think about it. Oh, mama making me go hang out with grandma and them. Why? I don't want to do that. So if your mom considered your feelings, she would have took time away from her mom spending time with her grandson.
Right.
Dismembering a family just because she wants to consider her son's feelings.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of what's wrong today. I think we don't have that line, right? We want to consider everyone's feelings, which can be a bad thing. It's not in its root, right? It's compassionate, it's kind, but sometimes you just can't care about people's feelings. Like you said, the little kid that says, "Oh, I don't want to go see grandma." Get your butt in the car.
Yeah, right now.
Go see your grandma, because you ain't going to have a grandma forever. Some people don't have moms forever. I mean, none of us will, or dads, or any other family member. Some people will see them in their lifetime and lose them, and vice versa. So, like you said, man, sometimes there's a time to consider feelings. Other times it's just time to do stuff. You got to make decisions. And then as that kid gets older, hopefully, unless some screws start to get loosened over that period of time, then they're like, oh, maybe I'm so glad I got to spend that time with my grandma. I made all those memories. I didn't want to go, but look what came from it. Or things of that nature. So definitely there's a time and a place to consider people's feelings before doing things. And then there's also a time and a place where you just got to go. You know, like especially when you're getting yours, you got to go.
To piggyback off what you said, I think that's one of the easiest things said than done, because it's completely easier for us to either go off impulse or actually consider people's feelings. Because there's a lot of people out there that off impulse, they are considering what other people are thinking, which is completely fine. And then there's people out there off impulse, literally act off impulse. Can't do anything else but that. And so I think when an individual is able to find a happy medium within that, to where, okay, like you said, all right, listen, I gotta go. I gotta do it right now. And then when you do have those times where, okay, let me actually consider what this person would feel if I was to do this. And because I talked about this earlier with some friends, and an interesting perspective was brought up. You can't just do things and not consider people's feelings. Like, you almost have to. You feel me? And not necessarily consider them, but you have to respect them and acknowledge them. And I think within respecting and acknowledging another person's feelings and emotions, you feel me? You could think otherwise, but I think when you do respect and acknowledge these people's feelings and emotions, in a way, you're not considering them. Here's why. If I know that Justin is, you feel me, a certain type of person, so I know that I can't do certain things that will piss Justin off, why would I go to great lengths to even play around with that? You know what I mean? Because you know, as we are as individuals, sometimes we like to push people's buttons. Why would I do that? Why would I do that?
Why would you? Yeah, depends.
Because I'm not truly respecting and acknowledging your feelings. I'm just, all right, let me just do what I want to do. I want to get a reaction out of it. Because I'm that type of person. I will do things to get a reaction out of somebody.
You and me both. Guilty as charged.
But if I was truly respecting and acknowledging that person's feelings, I wouldn't even think about doing anything towards them. You feel me? So if we're in a, let's take platonic relationships for example. You not finna text another, and this is wild. You feel me? I'm not saying my dog's doing this, but I'm not finna text another girl knowing that my girl don't want me texting other women. That's not considering her feelings. That's not respecting them, and that's not acknowledging them. All in a negative way. Now, if I respect her feelings and acknowledge them the correct way, I wouldn't even think about texting another female, because that puts me in the detrimental. And even you can, by me not doing that, I'm still not considering her feelings. Because, like, okay, she's not even going to feel this way, so I ain't even wasting. You're avoiding so much. So, like, I say all that to say this. With not considering other people's feelings, sometimes you can avoid situations that are detrimental to you. You can avoid conflicts, arguments, a lot of things with not considering these people's feelings. Now, granted, the same thing can be said with considering these people's feelings.
So, the biggest thing I'm taking from this, right, is consider your source. So, for example, whenever they told you, like, the old stories whenever you were a kid, and you always had that one, like, relative that always liked to tell you tall tales. And so, you know, and they would tell you, like, just something random, like, did you know if you put salt in such and such, then it does this? And it's like, what? You tell your parents, they come on, what are you talking about? Dude's always telling you that. Stop believing in that. Yeah, stop listening to it. Consider your source. So, the same thing goes from this, because a lot of people, like everybody, especially this day and age, is a critic. So, I'm going to go off a side note real quick. I'll tell you that the movie Godzilla got mid to bad reviews. You want to know why? Take a guess. Why?
People probably didn't see they didn't see Godzilla enough.
No, they saw Godzilla enough. Here's why. There was too much monster fighting in a monster fighting genre movie. So at that point, and I'm sure it's a respectable critic, but you could tell they haven't watched a lot of Godzilla movies because you're not interested in Godzilla for a story. You want to see monsters fight each other. That's the whole point of that. Right. And I say that to say that some people, when you hear their opinions and hear things they share with you or against you, you've got to consider. So I wouldn't take advice from somebody who's never been in a position I'm in or wouldn't have any good insight to a position I'm in. I'm sorry. I would love for you to whatever. And I do believe that you can become an expert in studying things that you haven't done. I do believe in that because with enough time. But I don't think that you should be able to try to get into the head of people who've done it. Like try to pretend like you're in that mind space because you've never been there. So again, whenever people, they give certain advice, you kind of have to take it and, okay, and you got to weigh it. And that's a lot of what life is. You've got to think before you do things, think before you consider things. It's using your mind. And I think that's something that's been dulled down a lot. I don't think we use our minds enough. And here's why I say that. And I'm not against cell phones. I have a cell phone. Half of this is being recorded on a cell phone. You'll probably be listening to this off your cell phone. But one, it takes away a lot of our attention. Two, whenever you need to learn something, what do? You go and Google it. Or you ask Siri or Alexa for some of you that have those fancy dancy things that are listening to you all the time. So you have Alexa or Siri, and then they give you all the answers you need instead of you going to find them. I'm not saying that from a philosophical standpoint, like throw your phones away and go follow da-da-da-da. That's not what this is about. But I'm also saying that sometimes we have to trust ourselves more and consider and use our minds more than we think. Yeah, trust yourself sometimes, not all the time.
You just said it, man. That's exactly what, in essence, that's what we're talking about. There's times where you can't lean on somebody else's understanding but your own. Right. You just, oh yeah, bro. You said it right there, like you just hit it. We could take that to a whole nother level, but I don't want to get too deep on these people. But you have to know, like, I think when people aren't considering, well, I think when people don't get me wrong, there's a level of unselfishness that each individual needs. But I think when someone isn't selfish enough, like there's an extent for you to be selfish. So I think when you're not selfish enough for yourself, I think you're truly, this is kind of hard to say, but I'm going to say it. I think you're not confident in who you are. I think you're not firm on what you believe in. I think there's a lot of foundational problems within that individual when you aren't able to like truly like believe what you like, do what you want to do, see what you want to see, believe what you want to believe. Like, don't get me wrong, influences are what we need, but if you aren't going, I think that's what I'm really like trying to hit at when I say don't consider someone else's feelings. If you're not trusting what you got inside of you, how on earth are you going to trust what another person's thinking?
Well, you can't, because you have to set up that base inside of yourself otherwise. So it's like, because I love giving analogies. It's my favorite thing to do, and it cracks people up. So it's like whenever you see a movie, right? And 4 or 5 guys come out. You haven't even spoken your opinion yet. 4 or 5 guys come out and they go, that movie was great. Best movie ever. 4 or 5 of them. And I used to be this person, but I'm getting to where I'm not. Sometimes I'll just agree and move on. But other times, I'll speak my mind. But then you have to go, oh, yeah. I loved it. Da-da-da-da. And you could have hated that movie. You could have hated all 2 hours of it. But because the general consensus is telling you that you like it and you're not trusting your own understanding or your own interpretation of the movie, you're like, oh, maybe I missed it. Maybe I was being too hard on it. Okay, I can be reasoned with. If, like, this math equation is complicated and everyone in the class, like, they did that one experiment, whatever, and the answer's 4. Oh, yeah, I showed the work. I saw it's 4. Like, no, it's not 4. No, go do it yourself. That's why they tell you show your work and do your work in class. And I hate math, but I'm supportive of them when they say show your work. Don't listen to other people all the time. Take advice from who you need to take advice from. But the biggest part is finding who you need to take advice from. And I don't think y'all are going to get that until you listen back to it over again. You might have to think on that a little bit. It'll hit you like while you're sipping your morning coffee at work or something, like, or on lunch break, like, oh. Oh, yeah.
That was good. And, oh, man. Because, like you said, when you watch that movie and you sit down and you just listening to everybody, like, you really could. I've done that.
Yeah. No, I'm guilty. Like, I'm not going to lie. I used to be that guy because it was Batman versus Superman. I gave the analogy, and a buddy of mine were talking about, like, how'd you feel about it? Oh, it's pretty cool, you know, blah, blah, blah. But that movie was terrible. And no disrespect to everyone who put their time and effort and energy and money, but man, that was terrible. That movie was so bad. But we had to, because we had this group going, and we still do, but we're kind of distant now. They're all older, and we used to sit in Skype calls for like 12, 13 hours. And so that's all we would talk about is movies and stuff we watched. And it was like, yeah, it was okay. But 2-3 weeks later, whenever we actually realized we could tell each other the truth, we came back like, the more I think about that movie, the worse it is. Like, we started tearing that thing apart. It is because, one, the title don't fit. But I'm not going to give y'all a full review. Just know, bruh, if you like that movie, good for you. That could be your thing. But it's not, I don't know how, but it's not for me or most people. That movie was pretty bad. But if you have the right ears and mouths telling you, right, well, if you use your ears incorrectly and have the right mouths telling you, rather, oh, yeah, this is this, and you let people fill your head with stuff without thinking over it yourself, then you kind of get, it's almost a form of brainwashing, if you ask me, because you're going to convince yourself of something
that you don't even know.
Yeah.
You don't even know.
And this is not conspiracy, but, like, it's literally a form of brainwashing. You're changing your mentality because of something someone else says. It's like, stay strong, you know? Yeah. If you believe in something, if you truly believe in something, and this is not like, yes, in essence, if you just agree with something everyone says, like that whole analogy with the math problem being 4, that's not going to affect your long-term life, I don't feel like. But things you truly believe in, things that are like your core values, don't just bend. Be willing to, like, disagree with people.
Yeah. Take it to the grave.
Yeah.
Take it to the grave, man. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you gotta be stubborn. Like, and I'm not like, I don't want to, what I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to take these negative connotations on certain actions and place the positive perspective on them. Like, when you hear, oh, I can't consider someone else's feelings, you're going to instantly think, I'm being a jerk. I'm being a a-hole to everybody, and I'm just, you know, not caring about what I want to do. No. I want you just to simply put this in a positive perspective. If I am going to do what I want to do, there are some people who are just simply not going to like it.
And they may like you. That's the biggest thing people forget. It's not just people who hate you, we mentioned earlier, but it's also people who like you. And it's one of the toughest things to do, because sometimes, like we mentioned the girlfriend thing, like the whole college thing that everybody comes up with, apparently. I never had that issue. But, you know, I didn't. I went wherever I wanted to go. I was single, so I was straight. I could have gone anywhere in the country. You know what I mean? It was a great time. it was wonderful because there's not that stress and worry about other people's feelings. But again, it's people you like too, because sometimes, like, realistically, you and I are great friends. We're not going to agree on everything, even though we share a similar mindset in the way we live our lives, the way we carry ourselves, what we believe in, who we are, and our core values. Not everything we're going to agree on. We're not into all the same things. And this is common sense, but people don't pick up on this. People still feel like they have to cater to other people's mindsets. And I'm not telling you to be closed-minded, but I'm also telling you, like, if you believe in something and other people don't like it, like, it's okay. It's not, that's life. Like, it's not a bad thing that you are making other people mad. Sometimes you're going to be opposite end. You're going to be mad. Like, you got to, yeah, right? Like, you're going to be on the opposite end and somebody says something that you don't like. And where we live at, and us being black men, like, that's a lot of what we encounter. Like, but they believe in that stuff, and that's cool for them. I mean, I don't agree and I don't like it, but at the same time, like, that's who they are. So if they have that kind of gall to be the people that they are, and yes, we're speaking about racists, and this is not a call on racism, but if they have that kind of gall to hate people just because of the color of their skin, then why can't we have the gall to stand up for good things we believe in? So, like, why, if you believe in God, why do you have to shy away from people just because it's not popular? And just because bad Christians have messed stuff up? Like, I don't believe in backing down off of stuff. If you have an opinion and it's within good reason and it's well researched, why not share it? And why not be afraid to argue and debate? That's the problem. People don't know how to speak to each other anymore. People just know how to fight. That's it.
They are considering the person's feelings too much. A lot of conflicts arises because I gotta make this person mad instead of I gotta get this person to understand.
Yep, that's exactly right. And I've never heard that spoken better. Because all you have to do to find an example of that, and if this was a video we would do, I could pull you any thread on Twitter.
Any single one, bro.
And Twitter's my guilty pleasure, right? Because it's a time waster, let's be honest. Twitter is a time waster, but people are considering people's feelings in the wrong way, because they're considering the fact that if I type this through the keyboard, I'm going to make this other person mad.
Right.
And if I go ahead and call this person this, well, then now they're not going to have anything to say back to me. Or I'm going to make this witty tweet. It's going to get like 10,000 retweets. So instead of actually trying to have and you see it rarely, some people have common sense and then they can type to a computer and they apologize. Sorry if I got off on the wrong foot. Look, it's right. And it's words, and you're just reading words off a screen, and you're not speaking to each other. You can't hear inflections of people's voice. You can't see their facial expressions, anything like that. And half of it is, like, it's crazy that we can talk to people across the world, but everyone's culture is different. So, East Coast versus West Coast. Some, like, people in the West Coast, from my experience, that have moved here, they're way more straightforward. So, like, when they say stuff to you, it's not a disrespect. They mean it. Like, they're here. They're honest, right? And then, Southern hospitality and all that, like, we're a little sweeter on this side of the world. We kind of dance around things more. And I say all that to say that don't spend your time considering making other people mad or considering trying to upset other people. If you have opinions and stuff like that, man, feel free to share them and don't be afraid to disagree. But also, it's not a shot at people's emotions, because that makes you look unintelligent, if you ask me. I don't feel like you're right. You don't have any evidence to support it. So it's just like whenever you're a kid and you realize, like, you're wrong. It's like, oh, well, you're still this. And you're not any less wrong. You just made up for it, made yourself feel good for that 5 seconds. You still gonna go home being wrong. Like, I don't know.
After that, like, I know for a fact I can attest to it because I done did it.
Oh, me too. Oh, yeah.
You gonna think about that the whole day. Like, dang, that joker got me.
Wrong and strong.
But I swear I'm gonna take it to the grave. Like, how you get me like that? You're gonna think about it all day long, man. And simply because instead of you choosing to make that person understand, you wanted to try to make somebody mad. You wanted to try to make somebody sad. You was trying to do something that you didn't really want to do. I think that's a hidden gem within that. When you're considering other people's feelings, sometimes you get caught in doing something you really don't want to do. Now, granted, there's things where we don't want to do. We get in situations where we have to do things we don't want to do, but that's different. I'm not saying that. In this specific of the conversation or the context of the conversation, when you're considering some people's feelings, it's like going to that place to eat where you know you don't want to eat.
Yeah.
You feel me?
We've been there.
But you got to.
You gotta go.
You got to.
Every once in a while, some situations call for it. You gotta go.
You got to. Now, in those type of situations, you gotta acknowledge and you gotta respect it. And you gotta choose to do something you don't want to do. Now, in the situation where we just brought up, like say you having a debate with somebody and then you're just choosing to be wrong. You feel me? You're gonna have to do something you don't want to do, and that's be wrong. Nobody wants to be wrong, but you're gonna have to be wrong because you just decided to go out your way and be a bad person and make it out selfishly for you. Like, okay, Justin, you feel me?
Yeah.
Where are we gonna go with that?
Like, what does that mean to me?
Now you got to do something. You got to sit with the fact that you was wrong, and that's gonna bother your spirit because everybody's gonna be like, "Whoa, where did that come from?" Or, "Whoa, why is he acting that way?" And now eyes are gonna be pointed on you, and now you're gonna be put in a situation where you don't want to be in.
Well, it's just like whenever people get attacked, right? And cancel culture and all that. And we really should do another episode on cancel culture. Like, we could have our whole own. I don't either. Because I believe that people are not necessarily their decisions. They're a collection of their decisions. But, like, one or two bad decisions should not determine how you feel about that person. Like, some people do terrible things, don't get me wrong, but, like, we're canceling them. We're going to get everybody on their keyboards and their phones to go attack this person. That's wrong. Like, you don't gain anything from that. And those people have that mentality. Like, they just think that by doing that and by reposting all this, they're going to bring awareness, but like they're doing nothing to help the situation. And it's just like whenever you're those wrong and strong people, which all of us have probably been. I'm not going to lie. I've been one of those wrong and strong, and I'm going to still say what I got to say. You're going to hear me. But at the same time, there's also an expectation. You hope they stoop to your level so you can flame them some more. And then the people who like, all right, cool, we see what this guy's doing. He ain't got nothing else to say. Like, one of my good friends tells me, and I get mad every time, I want to slap him, but he does this thing, and he's the most annoying person ever. And if he's listening, he knows exactly who he is. I don't have to say his name, but that's free promo for you.
Yeah, you already know it.
He says, you know he's still mad when he's still talking. And he says it like you're not in the room. Yeah. So he looks at everybody else. He said, you know he's still mad when he's still talking. And so it's just like I'm talking to me. He keeps doing it. And you're trying to argue your point. You know he's still mad when he's still talking. And like it's so like, it's not even aggressive. It's just so, he's still mad.
It's elegant.
And you get hot. I mean, I want to slap you. Like, oh my gosh, he's not paying attention to me. But sometimes you got to be that person too, by not considering that other person's feelings. If they're mad, like if they're beyond the point of reckoning with, and we've all gotten there, I've gotten there, I'm beyond the point of reckoning with. Maybe later, maybe another time I'll be able to talk, but I'm just so mad I'm not even reasonable anymore. That's probably a time to let it go. And I think that's the biggest thing, by, again, not considering their feelings. You got to know when to let it go. And we could give y'all examples like all day. Anything. Yeah. Oh, yeah. But, man, we're reaching almost a 35-minute mark. So we're going to kind of wrap things up here. Any final thoughts? And maybe like one more discussion point, and then we'll go ahead and hit our closing.
Another discussion point. I don't want to go too far left, but back on just, choices and stuff, and just the whole choice factor. Cause my grandfather, he's been teaching me things, and right now he's teaching me what the choice factor is within the individual. And so, with all that we just talked about within these 35-40 minutes, I want to point out that It starts with the mouth. Okay? And I say that to say this. The words that are coming out of your mouth are how people are going to interpret how you're feeling. So, if you are speaking correctly, now not necessarily say you can speak bad or, wrong or right, but if you are speaking with the right intent, people are going to know when you are truly respecting, acknowledging, and considering their feelings how you should. And then people are going to know, okay, this person is in a situation where they don't have time nor energy to consider how I'm feeling, but they do got to get this job done. And that starts with the mouth. If you're not properly communicating, it will always be difficult for someone to understand and interpret you. Because there's one thing, okay, I can understand you by listening to you. But if I can't understand you by listening to you, then I don't know what to do with that. So I want you to just know that when it comes to making choices, it starts with your mouth. Because yeah, you can do things, but before you do things, you say.
Oh yeah, and like to piggyback off of what you said, I've never seen a super successful person talk bad about themselves. I've seen them be real. I've seen them maybe talk about their faults, but they're never the one saying that I will never be this, I'll never be that, I'll be a loser. Like, you literally attract what you think and what you speak. But again, like we said, we can make so many episodes off this, so we don't want to take all of that from you guys. So any closing thoughts? We're good here? All right, guys. That does it for this first episode. We hope you enjoyed it. We know it was a little lengthy, but hopefully this is good on your travels. I know the holiday season's coming up. We hope you listen to this. Early Merry Christmas for you guys. And hopefully we'll have something out before Christmas or around Christmas time for you guys to marinate on, think on, and reflect on. For Mr. Sturgis, also known as Sturgtalkalot, remember, you can find him anywhere. Do you want to give us one last promo?
Hit me up on YouTube, man. Not YouTube, excuse my mouth. Instagram, Kenyatta Sekou, Twitter, Lil Sturge. You know, I'm posting all my socials there, so if you follow me, you follow me. Give me a shout out. I'll get back with you. We can get it going. Big thank you to my brother Justin, man, the Emperor. I got to step into the throne today, got to see how the kingdom works and what exactly the kingdom has in store for us. Like he said, man, be ready for what's in store for the future. Like I said at the beginning, we only gonna get bigger. So we here with it, man.
Yeah, trust me, the pleasure is all mine to have somebody with a brain. And some really good wisdom. I say that jokingly. Everybody has a brain. But again, you know what I mean. But we're going to get out of here. I've been Justin. You guys have been awesome. Stay royal. Stay great. Stay blessed. I'll see you soon.